What's going on, Bulls Nation? And welcome in to the CHGO Bulls podcast presented by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when signing up to live your bet life.
That's what it is.
CHGO. I'm Matt. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. That is Dave at BAWL Sports on Twitter. And joining us in that magic little bubble is Mr. Goat Gottlieb. Follow him at Won't Gottlieb.
Won't he do it?
We're here at the studio, back after doing a remote pod on Monday. Good to be back. And because the season is over, we thought that today we would start with our season-ending player evals. Each player on this Bulls roster from this season evaluating what kind of season they had, grading them out, and then also kind of looking at the projection for their offseason, their future, or lack thereof when it comes to are they going to be back next season. So we're going to start that today. And Big Dave, per your request, we are starting with DeMar DeRozan.
Yay!
Perhaps the biggest story of this Bulls season.
Hooray!
Will, are you ready to do some DeMar DeRozan season eval with us?
I've never been more ready. I'm so excited to talk about DeMar, you guys. He was awesome this year. I mean, that's not a surprise, but I'm very excited to talk
spoiler alert, I think most of the grades are going to be pretty good. So what we decided to do as far as breaking down these player grades is grading them on their offensive side of the ball, their defensive side of the ball, and then we're throwing in one meathead grade,
boom,
which all of us can make whatever we want it to be.
Yes.
Regardless of which player we're evaluating that day. And then an
Shout
overall
out to Dave
grade.
for coming up with that.
Hey, man, I'm all about the meathead life. Sir.
Sorry, I couldn't find it.
I
Yeah,
absolutely
we'll
love
give you
the
zero
meathead
guesses
grade.
as to whose idea that was.
Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. I got a million of them. Don't worry. More on the way. Let's do it.
So, are we ready to reveal our DeMar grades? Then we'll dive into evaluating all of them and kind of talking through them.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. DeMar DeRozan's grades from all of us. You know what we should do is come back and get Mark's addition to these too, because he's not with us today. But so offensively, I love how all three of us were just like, yeah, A+.
Right.
A+ for sure.
Okay.
I don't think even with his sort of drop in efficiency in the final month or so of the season, March into April when the Bulls were struggling as a team and DeMar's efficiency numbers came down a little bit, I think it's still hard to argue when you look at across the entirety of his 76 games that he played for the Bulls in the regular season, that he had one of the most efficient scoring seasons of his NBA career.
Very true.
It like anything other than an A+ would have seemed like an insult to me.
A complete insult. Like anything other than that. All he did in a year everybody said he wasn't going to do anything was average the most points he's ever done in his NBA career here with the Chicago Bulls. Oh, and shot the best percentage he's ever shot ever in his career from the three-point line with the Chicago Bulls. Basically 28 points a game, 35% from three, and just countless amazing what the hell buckets. Like, it was just absolutely ridiculous what he did this season.
I think he led the league in what the hell buckets.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, sir.
I think the other thing here, just like big overarching thoughts about this, is like this is his most impactful season on winning probably in his career, and certainly the most impactful season that any Bulls player has had probably since Jimmy Butler. So for me, I mean, offensively, the way that he controlled every game this year, the way that he just came to work and did his thing. I mean, just what a treat that we were able to watch this all season. I just like, I can't even begin to appreciate how great this guy is.
Yeah. Treat is the word, Will. Like, and I mean, from the beginning, like you knew what you were expecting. You knew you were getting a score, right? You know who he is. He's DeMar DeRozan. He's going to score, but it was the way it was happening, the just, oh my God, moments that he was having for the Chicago Bulls, the game winners, the 50-point game against the Clippers to basically drag the Bulls into the 6th seed and get them in the playoffs. Just the month he had where he was up there, with the gods of Zeus and the rest of the mythology, when he was tying Wilt Chamberlain and Jordan records and breaking them, when he was up to that level, man, like, it was just absolutely amazing to watch. And then just seeing how much fun he was having doing it, here in Chicago and all the wonderful things and, hugging guys on the court. And, he was just having a great time being a Chicago Bull. And it's been such a long time since we had seen that before. Just somebody being that good, but having that good a time playing for our favorite team.
C-Red UK saying easiest one to evaluate, freaking awesome. That's what the A stands for.
That's what it means. Yeah. Go ahead, Will.
I was going to say he single-handedly changed the culture of this entire organization after 5 years of just being the bottom feeders of the entire NBA. I think the Bulls actually had like the worst combined record for the last 5 years prior to this one. So, DeMar, obviously with the help of Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, really turned around this organization. And I think that even goes beyond like whatever his on the court grade was, right? Like, he was awesome on the court. He had the game winners. He did the Wilt Chamberlain thing, but he changed the perception of the Chicago Bulls. 2 years ago, they're getting booed at the All-Star game in their own building. He just completely changed this team. And I think you can't really take that for granted when you're talking about him. As one of the previous comments that we had up on the screen here was like, remember when he was the worst signing of the free agent in free agency? Like, he outperformed his contract on and off the court. He was awesome. Easy A+ for me.
Easy. He had a career high 27.9 points per game. Career high. He also had a career best 35.2% mark from behind the 3-point line, which he, sort of added to his game throughout the season. There were nights where we were like, oh, you don't love DeMar taking 5 threes, but the nights where he was like, oh, he's 2 of 4 from behind the 3-point line tonight. Right. Great. Awesome. Especially when the Bulls were really missing Lonzo's 3-point shooting once he went down. And then in a lot of other statistical offensive categories across the board, whether you're looking at, PER, true shooting percentage, usage percentage, a lot of them were either career best marks or second or third best seasons of his career, and the best since his elite days in Toronto. Which, if you're grading how effective he was offensively this season, all of that points to A+ kind of offense from DeMar.
And you were talking about those other ones that were second place. Even simpler than that, field goal percentage. Second best season ever, 50%.
Over 50% from the field for the entire season.
Free throw percentage, second best ever in his career, 87.7%, basically 88% from the free throw line. And his best one was the previous year. So obviously he's figured something out, as far as free throws is concerned. But to be doing it, again, I can't stress enough how much it means to be doing all of those things here, because that means doing the things he did put him on national television, for the Chicago Bulls. And remember, guys, we weren't used to being on national television and being praised. That was not a thing. We were used to being on there and being laughed at and people saying, why the hell are we talking about the Chicago Bulls? DeMar DeRozan changed all of those things, man, and actually made them a destination where people actually can look at and say, man, he's good. I might want to go play with that over there. That looks like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, so I want to pull up some of these, advanced numbers here just to kind of put into perspective what kind of season he was having, not just for him, but relative to some of the other stars in the league. So first, I think, is on-off percentage, which essentially tells you, and I'm going to look at offensively here because I think defensive we'll get into in a bit, but obviously not quite as good there as he was on offense. But the Bulls were 5.6 points per 100 possessions better with him on the court. That's the 88th percentile among all players in the NBA. He was, plus 4.0 in estimated offensive plus minus, which is an all-in-one metric over at dunksandthrees.com. And that basically puts together your on-off net rating, which is the one I referred to just before this. And then also some of the other box scores and advanced stats. And then just the way that he, like we talked about sort of relative to the rest of his career, like if you look at his basketball reference page, his offensive box plus minus, some of the highest, that I think the second highest that he's ever had in his career, offensive win shares, second highest that he's ever had in his career. True shooting was 59%, which is like well above league average. And especially when you talk about the usage that he had and the amount of burden that he was carrying, just such an impressive overall offensive production from him this year.
Yeah, I mean, everything and everywhere. I like what Colin said there. Like, DeMar had a $40 million season, and we paid him 26. Like that, yes. And remember how that contract was talked about? How that was laughed at? They're giving him $80 million. That's crazy talk. You can't handle that. And now it's like, damn, we only gave him that. Like, yeah, man, it was that kind of year.
Underpaid.
Correct. Underpaid, underappreciated, underrated. But now he's under the Chicago umbrella.
Yeah.
Boom! I love how I did that right
Will mentioned the offensive win shares, which was an even 7.0 this season, second highest of his career, and the highest since that 7.5 career high all the way back in the 15-16 season. That's a long gap.
That's a minute
since having his to have his second best offensive win shares number. We did not even know each other in 2015 or 2016.
He was baby goat around that time, man.
Baby goat.
Goat in training.
That was
the other.
Go ahead.
The other cool thing I think about his season is the way that like the NBA has just become in a lot of ways this like 3-point layup free throw like contest to see who can make the most shots from those spaces. And I think it was a really unique, fun season where he really put his stamp and his identity on this Bulls offense and showed that you can have a really efficient, a really productive season shooting a ton of shots from the mid-range. And I think as Chicago fans, we are all somewhat enamored, if not just obsessed with that mid-range post game that Michael Jordan put on display for years and years. And for DeMar to be able to replicate just some of that, with that mastery of footwork and his fadeaway jump shots and all this stuff. I mean, I think it was really cool just from a stylistic standpoint to see the way that he put his mark on this team. I mean, when you look at what he does well, it's mid-range shots, shooting very efficiently. The Bulls were really good at effective field goal percentage. He never turns the ball over. He gets to the free throw line a ton. I mean, these are just things that are really important in terms of building an efficient offense. But he did it in such a unique way. And I think it was just really special to see all of that this year.
And also second highest assist total also per game for him this year as well. And I don't know that name. That name is it Gio? I think that's what it says. Where it says, my niece became a Bulls fan this year and DeMar is by far her favorite player now. That says that's what exactly what I'm talking about.
Very logical decision made by a very young person.
Brilliant decision by your niece. Brilliant decision. But that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like being on national television, seeing somebody that good playing all the time now, you're like, I think I like him. Like, yeah, I'm with you, DeMar DeRozan. Thank you for being here, sir. For real.
All right, now let's quickly touch on DeMar's season defensively. We all, Joe, you want to throw the grades up one more time? We all obviously had not A's in the defense column. Dave, I believe.
That's incorrect, actually.
Right. Will had him as a B. You had him as a C.
I thought I meant to have him at a B.
My bad. All right.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
We forgive you for this error.
Look at the graphic. There's a lot going on.
I put him in correctly. But so I guess, Will, the question is like, I saw DeMar have a pretty typical DeMar season on the defensive end, which is not focused, not a great lockdown defender individually. And perhaps the more egregious part is, to me, he's bad playing help defense. Never knowing where he needs to be and when he should help versus when he shouldn't, and transition defense. And it wasn't just I didn't get a call, so I'm going to sit here and stare at the ref while they're going back the other way. Even when that wasn't happening, I think his transition defense, communication, who's taking ball, who's not, is something that is worthy of criticism.
Yeah, and
that's why I gave him a C-.
You know what's funny? Like when I was looking at that, I was like, see, it's more on brand that people would think I would have him as the B on defense and Will would have him as a C. But it's not the case. Not the case here. Will's got some explaining to do having that as a B, sir.
And usually people are criticizing me for being the negative one. I think it was really hard for me to separate this from not just the offense, but like his overall performance. And for somebody who carried such a massive load on the offensive side, I did want to cut him some slack on the defensive side. I think if it were anybody else, I'd probably go down a letter grade. But I also think during the playoffs, he really showed me something where he wasn't just like, I think, attacking closeouts a little bit harder and making sure he was trying to get to the right spots. Like, obviously he's not great at that and not going to be perfect at that, but I saw him directing traffic a little bit, understanding where to be and telling people where to be, especially with those second units with some of the younger guys who aren't always on track. And then also, relative to some of the other players, I don't think he was quite as bad as Kobe in a lot of situations, or I don't know. He's definitely not great. And I think I was pretty generous with the B, probably could go down to a B- C+, but just given everything that he did on the offensive end, I think you kind of have to cut him some slack for maybe not giving a full effort defensively. It's just like, I think it was like a little bit unreasonable to expect that from him. Now, maybe you're used to a guy like Jimmy Butler being a Bull where he somehow does it on both ends, and that's a fair criticism, or seeing what Giannis did on both sides in the playoffs. But definitely, I think, wanted to cut him some slack there.
Yeah, I thought giving him a C for me, it was cutting him some slack. Giving him a C, I thought that was the fair.
I thought
grade.
about a D+ for a minute.
Yeah, like I thought about a C-, like seriously. But it was honestly, Will, like you said, it was the playoffs. And I remember, like you said, everything you said, like his communication and what he was doing in those playoffs to help with the Bulls in their defense, especially in those first two games. What he did was on point. And I don't expect him to be, again, this lockdown defender. I don't expect him to be like, I got this guy. He's my man. I'm locking him down. I always wanted him to help and not be lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I needed, because what he's giving me on the offensive end, I'm like, great. You know what I'm saying? So anything you give me on defensive end, you get a steal or something like that, gravy. You get a block or something, awesome. You know what I mean? A 24-second violation, I will throw you a parade. So I just wanted him to just be okay defensively. So for me, the C also bleeds into his offense. So that's where the plus comes from. You know what I mean? Like the A+ kind of bleeds into the defense, man, because he was so amazing offensively. I gave him some slack on the defense. Like, you know what? You get a C for what you did, because you're not the greatest defender, and I don't expect you to be, but I just wanted him to be out there communicating and putting in the effort. It's one thing to suck at defense. It's another thing to not even try. You know what I mean? And the fact that as the season went on, I saw his effort increase and get better and better and better to where it truly showed out in the playoffs. Yeah, I thought it was fair giving him that.
He had 2 successful charges taken in the playoffs, right?
Man.
I mean,
one of them on Giannis, bro.
Yay, DeMar.
Come on, dude. One of them on Giannis, man. Like, that's like 6 charges. That's a huge person. My God.
All right, so let's now talk about the meathead category of grading, and these are all kind of all over the place.
Sound effect, Joey.
All right, so let's start with you, Big Dave. Let's explain your A infinity symbol in the meathead grade category.
Okay,
That is an 8 turned sideways.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Good enough.
Good enough.
I was resourceful. There's
Good
no
enough,
infinity
sir.
symbol.
Good enough. And the reason it's A infinity is because what he did this year for the Bulls will live on forever. This is now in Bulls lore, what he did. Those 2 game winners that he did back-to-back, this will be talked about.
New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Come on, right.
Beautiful.
Dude, this will be discussed forever. Where were you when that happened? Oh, dude, remember DeMar hit that crazy joint right there? That will be discussed forever. His dropping 50 will be discussed forever. What he did in that month of February, we still talking about February, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
What he did in that month will be discussed forever. We will always talk about that because he brought it back from those years of trash that the Bulls were going through and dealing with. So what he did and what he brought to this team, what he brought to this organization and this city, it will live on forever. We will talk about DeMar DeRozan forever. So when he retires and comes back and just sits in the stands and all that, that's why he will get all the cheers and all the applause and all that stuff like that. Because we have long memories here in Chicago, man, especially when you do something nice and you're awesome for the team, man. We have long memories for that.
That's true.
All
right, Will, explain your meathead grade of 4275506.
8675309.
Joey, I hate to put you on blast, but we're missing a number here too.
I thought I was missing like a 3 in there.
Man,
We're
Joe,
missing
what's
a
up with you
3
today, man?
between.
Well, I didn't think
7
anyone
and
was going to
5.
notice. Or Will was going to call me out on the airwaves.
This is very
nobody was gonna
intentional,
notice.
okay? And I'm gonna walk you through it here. So imagine there's a 3 between the 7 and 5. So
Okay.
we have the king in the fourth quarter,
Ooh.
number 4. We have 2 buzzer-beating game winners.
Okay.
We have 7 straight games of, this is where the 3 is, 35 points or more on 50% shooting.
Oh, I love that.
And he carried the Bulls to the 6th seed. So that's where I got that number. Just kind of a story of his season.
Hit that meathead sound effect for that, man.
The story of his season. And, yeah, I mean, he's just, that's all I can say.
Will,
I love the creation of that number.
Amazing, Will.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Amazing.
When he first sent it to me, I was like, what the hell does this mean? Had no idea how to interpret
I was
that.
like, just wait, guys. I'll do another shot.
Listen, I saw it and I was like, I love this. I got so excited because I was like, yes, Will's getting into the meathead.
I want to clarify
this is where
something.
I want him more times than not. Yes, I like that, man. That was awesome, Will. Very well done.
I got to clarify one thing, Shaq. I am not Aaron Rodgers. I am not Lawrence. This is Joey messing up we're different. I am not Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to be compared to him.
No.
Peck might punch me in the face if you say that again.
Hey,
we hate Aaron Rodgers, so we're glad you're not Aaron Rodgers.
and Lawrence is no longer Aaron Rodgers either because he cut his hair.
That's true. He did. He did.
Yeah, you heard me. You handsome,
your hair.
you handsome man. All right, so my meathead grade was a I or an incomplete because my meathead category that I wanted more from DeMar this season was his petty levels. Because Bulls fans enjoyed themselves, and we certainly enjoyed ourselves, telling all those haters and the doubters who thought the DeMar signing was a terrible idea. Y'all watching this?
That was fun.
It was very enjoyable. I wish DeMar were a petty enough human being that he would have done more of it himself. That is the part of this season of his that I deem incomplete. The incomplete grade is I wanted more petty DeMar. Every time he proved the doubters and the haters wrong, I wanted him to step back on those people and say, y'all see what I just did? Because I think, he's too much of a nice guy and he's too classy for that. He's like, I'm just going to let my game and my stat lines do the talking, which good for him. I wanted more pettiness from that man this season.
He said too small to Pat-Bev after he hit
He
that
did do the too small move to Pat-Bev, which I
you want more of
loved.
that?
I'm saying
That was amazing.
But he played 76 games and he was phenomenal in 59 of them. Yeah, I needed more petty DeMar moments.
Okay.
Thus, I gave him an incomplete in my meathead category.
You know what's funny about this, Will? You can remove DeMar and put my name right there, and it would be the same exact thing. Matt has said the same exact things to me about being too nice and being more petty and quit being kind to people and be more petty to folks.
Most people don't deserve it.
See what I'm saying? The same things, man. So I'm sitting there like, this is pretty on brand. This is pretty on brand right
likes
there.
displays of emotion. He wanted more. He wanted more from the Grayson Allen retaliation. He wants a little bit meaner Dave sometimes, just sometimes. Yes. And he wanted a little bit more pettiness out of DeMar. I get it.
People got to earn that from me.
Bulls Bucks series is over. How dare you even mention that name on this show? He should only be mentioned one more time, and it's if and when the Bucks get eliminated from the playoffs.
Ooh, yes.
Big game for Boston Bucks game 2 tonight. The Bucks stole game 1.
Big one.
Celtics trying to even that series.
It's gonna be something.
Man,
look at Jane. She didn't know Lawrence cut his hair.
Oh man.
She had no idea. Hey Lawrence, come here for a second, please. We're gonna show you since people haven't really seen this yet. You got to prove it. People didn't know you. Some people didn't know you cut your hair.
This man
and chopped that off.
Trim.
So they kind of want to see this and what you did, sir. So
it's real.
Come here, take a look. Look at it. Oh, silky smooth. Look at this man.
That is a clean cut.
Looks like he hosts a quiz show. That is amazing right there. Oh, did you? What? Did he hit the wall? Is that what? Is that what just happened? Joey?
Is that what that was?
I think he just hit the wall. Yeah, that's what I just said. He looked like a game show. That's exactly what I said. Yes. Thank you, Wink Martindale. Very nice. Very good, sir. Bert Okay, yes, sir.
Well, there's your proof. Lawrence cut his hair, and he looks handsome as ever.
He does.
And he doesn't look as much like Aaron Rodgers anymore.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I'm good with that.
So you're nice to him now.
Exactly. Nomad saying just get buckets and shut people the hell up in reference to DeMar not being petty enough. Yeah, clearly that's the best form of trash talking is use your game, and that's what most professional athletes say. I like more petty. Shocker. Okay, and then just to quickly round out our overall grades for DeMar, you and I had A's.
Yeah.
Will gave him the full-fledged A+. I think you're splitting hairs there. Like I would. I have no issue with anyone who wants to call this an A+ season from DeMar.
None. Zero. I actually was good. Go ahead, Will.
I was going to say, I think that's another reason why I was a little bit more lenient with the defense, because I didn't want to knock him too much. I mean, he just had such a great season. I didn't want that to take away from the overall picture, which I think the offensive side was a much bigger part of his season, right?
Yeah, you're right. And actually, that's the reason I gave him the A, because I just figured the average would average out that way. Like, no, you got the A+ on the offense, the infinity A, and like, yeah, you got your C. Let me just balance that out. You got an A. Like, you're incredible. You're the head of the class. We know what it is, man. You're DeMar DeRozan, and you're not frozen, and you're chosen. Thank you very much.
All right, so we also kind of want to talk about what comes next for DeMar in the offseason and then looking ahead into next year. So we'll do that coming up next in just a minute. But first, mention it at the top of the show, today's episode brought to y'all by PointsBet. Don't forget to use that promo code CHGO when you sign up, because you're going to get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 if you do that. Also, if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you will get a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our amazing web content, and you'll even get a free CHGO shirt of your choice from that CHGO locker. They just added the Chicago Fire shirts, the Chicago Red Star shirts to that inventory. Check them out. Amazing. That's 2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, a free T-shirt from CHGO Locker, plus access to our members-only Discord channels, one for each team. Join the Bulls Discord on CHGO's Discord. All just for making a $50 first-time deposit on PointsBet.
That's it.
The promo code CHGO. It's so easy.
Simple.
It's so easy, people.
Do it.
And you know what today is? It's Tuesday. That means it's time for the pick of the week. And I'm looking at Mavs Suns game 2. Loved game 1 last night.
It was fun.
Luka was just
Dumb.
lights out. I mean, if you took the combined over on points, rebounds, assists, like I think you had it at halftime. My goodness. I'm looking at Mavs +6 and feeling pretty good about that.
Okay.
Because Suns' final margin of victory in game 1 was 7, but like the Suns had an incredible shooting night.
They did.
And I have more faith in Luka replicating his performance than the Suns being as efficient as they were from the field. So I believe in this Dallas team, and I believe in their ability to get a split in Phoenix. So I'm taking the Mavs +6, which is -110. I'm also even flirting with just taking Mavs money line for them to win game 2. You can get that at +205 on PointsBet right now. And in support of our pal Sabine, I think I might have to do that.
See, emotions involved.
That's my PointsBet pick of the week.
There it is.
Come on, Mavs.
Oh, I see. Cash only, eh? No paper trail, eh?
Plus, the last time I put money on the Mavs to win a game, which was to close out Utah in game 6, on the road, they followed through with me.
Man, what a comeback by them, too.
Oh, my gosh. It was incredible.
My goodness, man. They shouldn't even been in that game. Great comeback by the Mavs.
So, sign up for that PointsBet account. Use promo code CHGO. Have some fun. And do what, Dave?
Live your bet life.
Thank you, sir.
Dramatic pause.
Will's learning. Getting
all right.
stronger.
So, looking ahead, we've already kind of gotten word on what DeMar's offseason is going to be, which is forcing his teammates to come work out with him in L.A. But just a few other details. Let's take a look at it, Joey, if you don't mind. What's on the docket for DeMar moving from the 21-22 season into next season? He is under contract for $27.3 million, which again, I can't remember who in those comments said it, but like that's a bargain.
Bargain.
You know, he just had a player the caliber of a $40 million player.
Shout out Colin.
There is no question he will be back next season. I have that marked at 100% as this team's veteran leader and their leading scorer. Areas to improve, help defense, transition to defense. Maybe also I might throw into that, seeing if he can get a little bit more consistent behind the three-point line, because this team just desperately needs more volume three-point shooting, reliable three-point shooting. What about you guys, though? Those were my thoughts on, what I'd like to see from DeMar's offseason. Anything that you guys want to see from DeMar, knowing that we just praised him rightfully so for having the best individual Bulls season since Derrick.
I honestly, I just want to see it continue. There's nothing else I want to add. I just would like to see more of it. I don't want it to be that season where everybody's like, well, yeah, he had that fluke year and now he's back to earth. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want it to just continue and continue to give me those games and continue to be that guy that we lean on in that fourth quarter when we need that win and we got to have it. I still want DeMar to be that person. I think that's a great point you made about his three-point shooting, because honestly, that's just what it is. It's just what it is now, man. You got to have some semblance of a three-point shot. And like I said, he had his highest percentage he had ever.
35.
Yeah, 35. He had his highest he had ever in his career. But a more consistency, even if he's just taking 2 a game, I'm okay with that. He was doing that early on, but then just kind of, went DeMar on them for the next few months.
Yeah.
So it was hard to complain about and things like that. But I wouldn't mind that, if he just takes the open ones, if they're given to him, and not force it, just because we kind of need it. And he was kind of learning that, I thought, as the year went on. Because at first he was like, well, these are open, I'm going to take them. But then he was like, oh, no, we got to have one. I got to force it. And that's not his game at all. So I think that has more so to do with scheme, and other things like that to get him those kind of shots. But, yeah, bottom line, I just want it to continue and keep being DeMar, Debo, DeRozan, and let's do this again next year, Will.
It's really hard to criticize him for anything because I think the way that the Bulls season worked, I mean, you kind of just it had to turn into the DeMar show. But I think for me, if there's one thing I want to see out of the Bulls as a whole next year, it's going back to that first sort of 2-3 months of the season where they were really moving the ball, sharing it, getting, side to side. I think DeMar, after a certain point, certainly with the injuries, had to kind of take over and just say, this is the best, this is the best possession we're going to get right now is if I take a elbow jumper. Cause we're just missing too many guys. This is the best shot we're going to get. So health obviously factors into that, but I think that was really where the Bulls were at their best. And then, okay, fourth quarter comes around. It's a close game. Now DeMar, cook, and just go get this win. So I definitely want to see more movement. And I don't think all this is to say, I don't think he's unwilling to do that. I think it's just a circumstantial thing. I do wonder, you said 100% chance he's back next year. Do you think that there's any percent chance that if the Bulls lose Zach LaVine in free agency, that they might try to just go the other direction and move DeMar? I think it's probably, at most 1%, but I don't know. It's a thought.
I don't like this.
Then why? I'm mad at you
I'm
for
just
bringing
here,
that up.
I'm here
right
for the
now.
pettiness.
Like,
I'm here.
Why are
you
doing this?
You wanted petty. I'm giving you petty.
Gasoline on
I'm giving
something
you
that
chaos.
isn't a fire. Shouldn't be a fire. Be smarter than that.
You wanted chaos. I'm giving you chaos.
You did. Hey, bro. Hey, this is what you asked for. He's right. You asked for it.
When did I ask for chaos?
You asked for petty. He doesn't understand petty. He's not a petty person. So he doesn't know the limitations of it. You can't ask for anger from people who don't get angry. They're going to go absolutely crazy.
What is the difference between anger and pettiness and just straight up nonsense?
No, I'm just telling you how the levels go. When nobody does this and that you're not used to being there, when they do it, great example, New Girl.
I hate it here.
Remember Lamar Morris's character when he's making those pranks?
Yeah.
When sometimes he goes really small
just
or he goes really big.
Or way too small.
Yeah, that's what you got here, sir.
No, but honestly, there's no way DeMar isn't back. And I think even beyond the Zach situation, what we're seeing with him this summer, taking Pat under his wing, making sure the young guys are out there learning how to work out, learning how to be professionals.
Yes.
That goes. And that's the culture thing that I was talking about. I don't think you can take that away from this team. So he's not going anywhere. Don't worry, Peck.
No man in the comments said Zach ain't getting paid here.
Oh.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
It
might want to go listen to our episode from yesterday, no man. You might want to. You might not like what you hear, but it might be enlightening for you. Listen to what AK had to say.
Yeah.
In his end of season press conference, his Q&A talked about continuity. Talked about, obviously we want to continue building around what we built this year because when all of our guys were out there, we were pretty darn good.
This is true.
And that includes DeMar, and that also includes Zach.
Yes,
he
he
said,
does.
I hope Zach is here for a long time.
He did say this.
And
in an amazing 3-piece suit. He did say these things.
he had the Chicago.
Yes,
that
he had
Chicago,
this.
the
Yes, he did.
Strip Chicago
Yes, he
pin
did.
on his lapel.
Yes, he did.
Like a total. Do you think I could pull that off the next
What?
time I throw on a suit?
First of all, I've seen you in a 3-piece suit. I know you could pull it off.
Look
I've
classy
seen
as
this
hell,
happen.
y'all.
Look like Sean Connery. Like he was on point. He was on point. So yeah,
But
get
I
that
didn't have a
lapel.
Chicago lapel pin.
That would just tie everything together, man. Then you just need a martini and you'd be the man.
I don't drink
I
martinis.
know you don't.
I'm not that
know.
classy.
Give me the old style with my 3-piece. That's how he asked for it, Joey. That's how he says it.
Yeah, no, but I think here's Chicago Bulls Central saying Zach will be back. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I said DeMar DeRozan is coming back 100%. I don't even think that's an exaggeration. DeMar's coming back. Will, your question was valid if in some unlikely scenario Zach decides to walk, could that then trigger a domino effect of, okay, well then let's also move DeMar and let's come up with a new. Theoretically, yes. Hypothetically, yes. That there's logic behind that. But I also think Zach's staying.
There's not
means
logic.
that DeMar's
behind that.
staying.
I was kidding. He's coming back. He's just coming back.
Yeah.
They don't have their
jump through all those hoops just because
just
you're
trying
to
to-
be
I'm
a
trying to rile
smart
you
aleck
up.
little jerk face.
I'm just trying to rile you up. But look, they don't
Well,
even
you're
have their pick
succeeding,
next
and
year.
I don't like it.
To be fair, it's not hard to do.
It's very easy.
Very simple
They
things.
don't have their pick next year. There's zero reason to expect them to go the other direction. There's
True.
no point in it.
Absolutely true, man. He'll be back. And I thought that point you brought up, Will, was also a great one about getting the young guys prepared for the season. That's one of the things I talked about when they got DeMar DeRozan, how they had never had that kind of player here to take them under their wing and say, no, this is how you do things. This is how we work out. This is how you get better. This is how you grow. And to just show them what it's like to be a professional in the NBA. Like Zach was the only one, but Zach was learning on the fly. Zach had to figure it out. And then he had to show everybody how to do it after he figured it out. And they were growing with him. So that's a little different having a guy like DeMar here who knows it, been there, done that kind of thing. And I can't express how important that is, to guys, especially like Patrick Williams, who is kind of like him, very soft-spoken, won't be out there bragging on the floor or anything like that. To see somebody who is like you, that kind of way, still be that kind of great in the NBA, that does volumes for a guy like him.
And I think it's completely different than having, and I love Thad. Like I'm a huge Thad Young fan, but it's different than having him because DeMar's at the top of his game and like a top 15 player in the league this year. Like there's a difference between that and like having Robin Lopez on your bench or Justin Holiday or Thomas Satoransky. Like these are great role players, great veterans. Garrett Temple is another one where they can contribute, but they're not DeMar DeRozan. Like there's a difference between seeing what it takes to be at that level and working with that guy and him investing in you, turning into a high level player that you just can't get from somebody of those sort of caliber of players. And I think the Bulls need players like that on their roster. Like they really don't have enough of them, but they need that one guy. I mean, you always need talent in this league. You do. So for me, DeMar, like I said, offensive juggernaut this year, won them games single-handedly, but the culture and the way that he just changed the perception of this team is really, I think, the most important part.
Absolutely true, man.
The other thing that I want from DeMar this offseason, we were talking about how we're all excited for him to work out with his teammates, especially some of his younger teammates when he hosts them in Southern California. I also want DeMar to be able to experience summertime Chicago for at least some period of time.
Okay.
Because that man, he spent the first 8 seasons of his NBA career up in snowy Toronto.
He did.
So he knows the cold thing. He knows the winter thing. And he came to Chicago and was like, yeah, cool, winter. I've dealt with that the entirety of my professional life. I went down to San Antonio for a few years. But, I want him to understand just how gorgeous and fun and awesome Chicago in the summertime is. Because
that's a good point.
it's for real.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And it makes people love this city and it makes people happy.
Yeah.
Like summertime hits in Chicago, and it's like we all go from angry hibernating bears to everyone's best friends with everyone. We're all having a blast every freaking day. Every day in Chicago in the summertime is a Friday afternoon. First pitch on the north side, first pitch on the south side. Everybody's happy.
That's true. He's
Drinks on
very
patios, sun shining, hanging out at the beach. Summertime Chicago. DeMar, experience it.
Man, that's a great promo. Like, for real, dog. Summertime Chicago. Experience it.
Did we not just discuss last week about how summertime Peck is on the way?
It's true, and you can't wait.
I'm very excited about it.
You can't wait. Everything you described was just basically everything you're going to do.
Get these prisons off my feet.
Birkenstocks are ready. Have you tried on the Birkenstocks?
I've been wearing around the house. Got to break them in, baby.
Gotta break them in.
Got to break in that Birks.
Dude, I don't know that life, Will. I'm learning. I don't know that life, man. There go that starter pack. There go that starter. There it is, Joey.
Beautiful.
Oh, man, dude.
So beautiful.
I've never seen nothing more on point. That is so true.
Lawrence popped into the comments with hashtag SummerPeck. Yeah, it's happening.
He's a thing.
All right. Today is a very special anniversary, so we also want to talk about that before we get out of here. But before that, one more quick word from PointsBet, Big Dave.
Ooh, just one?
Just one. Maybe a few.
Oh, I'm upset. But if you enjoy CHGO and you want to help continue to grow, that rhyme, to download that PointsBet app is the way to do it, y'all. And use that code CHGO when you sign up, because not only are you getting those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you will receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of that awesome, cool web content, and you'll even get a free T-shirt of your choice from that CHGO Alaha. And in case you missed it, all the beautiful people here in this wonderful state of Illinois, even though Matt just went on a rant about summertime Chicago, we are not there yet because the weather outside
super
is
gross today.
Super gross. Oh my God, it is terrible. So you can stay inside though and not deal with that. And you can download that PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sports book, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Because once the game starts, you don't just bet. Will Gottlieb, please tell them what they do.
My favorite part of the show, you live your bet life.
Joey, one time.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Oh, knowledge. Bars right there, son. Bars, Lawrence. Bars.
So it is May 3rd, 2022. 11 years ago today, Derrick Rose won the NBA Most Valuable Player Award. First of all, can y'all believe that was 11 years ago?
Yeah, Gramps.
Yikes.
You're getting up there.
Oh, my gosh. So the Bleacher Report posted this video that was originally from NBA TV. And it was the first thing I saw when I hopped on Twitter this morning. And I almost legit broke down in tears. Because when you go back and watch young Rose, MVP season Rose highlights, it doesn't matter how many times you revisit it. I don't know about you, but my jaw hits the floor still every time when I watch that guy.
Every single time I watch his highlight, and it doesn't matter how many times I've seen them. That's the comparison to greats. It's like when you're watching Jordan highlights. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen them. Doesn't matter how many times I've watched Magic Johnson highlights or watched Steph Curry shoot those threes. Doesn't matter. I still am watching it and get something out of it every single time. And Derrick Rose is definitely that kind of guy. When I just sit there and I marvel at it, because there's something new every time. There's a pass that you forgot. There's a steal that you forgot. There's a three-point shot that he did, or a crossover that happened you just completely forgot. Or you'll see something to remind you of where you were when it happened, and how it felt when you saw that occur, man. And my God, you just think of everything that went down. You know, the Mark Shanowski, infamous question that he asked with Derrick, why not? Why not me? Why can't I be MVP? And everybody's like, oh, Derrick, you're silly. And Derrick said, no, I'm about to be that guy. I'm winning this thing, man. And the joy that he just gave Chicago, man, being the hometown guy, it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing.
I don't know what I can add to that. That was perfectly said. Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite Bulls season probably ever. I mean, just so much fun. Like the team just kind of overachieved. Thibodeau was like perfect. Joakim was perfect. Just the way that they just elevated beyond what you thought they could be. And it started with, like you said, Dave, just him calling it. He called that he was going to be MVP, and then he went out and did it. And just what a fun season. I actually got the chance to talk to him a little bit a couple of years ago when he was on the Pistons and they were playing the Warriors. Flex. And I told him, like, you know, I was a senior in high school when you had your MVP season. That was like the most fun I've ever had watching basketball. That's like probably why I'm doing what I'm doing today with my life. So had a huge impact on me. That was, you know, that changed. I always loved basketball. That changed it for me. So that was incredible season and definitely makes you feel a little bit old. 11 years, a long time.
Makes you feel old. You were in high school when that MVP season happened. Some of us were out of college already. But I'm with Will in that as that season was happening, and as someone who grew up on, you know, the back end of the dynasty, the second three-peat was like my freaking life. I felt the way I did about the Dynasty Bulls for the first time when Derrick Rose had that MVP season. Like, there were a lot of dark years when the dynasty ended, and then even some of those baby Bulls years, the original, like the OGs, young Luol, young Kirk, Scott Skyle. Like, it's like, okay, these teams are fun. They are less garbage unwatchable than the Tim Floyd era.
Fact.
But it still wasn't that same level of, like, I was a child ready to run through walls, plural walls, watching MJ, Scotty, and Dennis.
Can you imagine watching Peck during the...
Oh, dude. Young me
during the Derrick Rose years?
No, I would yell. I would cry. I would pound thing. Oh, my goodness. But that's how I felt watching Rose's MVP season. And it was like the first time since that I was like, I remember what something felt like. Yeah. And it was magical.
It was. That's the word. That's the word. Magical, man. Watching that happen and just watching it occur. And just those feelings, like, you don't forget, it even reminds you of, you know, even how he got here. You know, that 1.8% chance of them getting Derrick Rose in the draft. And I mean, I remember everything about that. I remember where I was. I'm on the phone with my brother, like, I'm just looking at the draft just to look at it because I'm a, you know, junkie. I'm an NBA junkie. It's what it is. And I'm just watching it like, well, you know, no, they only got 1% chance. They're not getting him, man. It's crazy. And then my brother's like, no, man, we might have, you know, and then it kept going and going and going. And when they got to one, I was like, oh my God, they got the number one pick. And I was like, man, they could get Beasley. That was the first thing I said. I was like, they could get Beasley. This is crazy. And my brother said, dude, Derrick Rose. Get Derrick Rose. And I was like, yeah, that sounds smarter. I was like, that sounds like a better thing to do. And because it wasn't conceivable.
I tweeted this out too, but that was just like peak Stacey King. The team was awesome. Like, that was just such a bright spot after such a long time of being bad or mediocre. And it's just, like we kind of talked about yesterday, there's so much value in having seasons like that, even if it's not necessarily a title. And I think they obviously had a great chance to win a title in 2011 and obviously 2012. But there's so much value in having those kind of seasons. Like, they really shape a generation of fans. And you even kind of see that today with, like, Ja Morant. Like, it's impossible to watch that guy and not think of Derrick. It's like Derrick flew so Ja Morant could, like, strap jetpacks to his back and jump from half court and do, like, the craziest freaking layups that you've ever seen. But it's true. It's like, it's hard to imagine he didn't grow up watching Derrick and say, I can do some of that stuff. I want to try some of that stuff. And hopefully there are, in this era, like I said, of a ton of 3-point shooting, which I love. I love watching Steph and Trae Young bomb off the dribble. Like, that's amazing. But it's also important that you have some diversity in the way that you play. And I think Derrick is going to have an impact on the way that young players play, that guards, that explosive athlete point guards play. It was a really special season.
And one more thing, Matt, what it also did, winning that MVP, it interrupted LeBron's dominance run. Because he was having that run where it was like, I don't know when he's not going to win another MVP. That dude was just winning them and deserving of them all the time. And he did it during his prime. This is prime LeBron. This
Yep.
is not even prime Rose yet. We never saw it.
No,
this is not prime Rose
He's
yet.
a 22-year-old.
22-year-old dude. Youngest ever. All right? Out of nowhere, coming in and upstaging LeBron James, man. And even Dwight Howard you can throw in because he was on that level. Dwight Howard finished second that year. People forget that. Dwight Howard finished second. LeBron was third. So for him to interrupt that, man, status quo, and jump in the middle of that and insert himself, you know what I'm saying, was just so Chicago to me. Like, whatever, get out the way. We this is our spot now. It was that kind of awesome, man.
Yeah,
I think there are people that still would argue like against Derrick Rose winning the MVP that year that LeBron or Dwight should have won it. But I think regardless of what you think about the stats or, whatever, like he won the narrative that year. And that is such an important part of the NBA. That's, I think, why we all love it. And yeah, I mean, that just goes to show how special a year it was and incredibly important it was for Bulls fans.
Yeah, a lot of people handed those Heatles the 1 seed in the East before the season even started, including themselves with a disgusting rally they threw for themselves. Not 5, not 6, not 7. Go to hell, LeBron. But that was the other awesome part about that D Rose MVP season story was it's like, here's this young Jedi who's like going out there and being like, not to hell with the Death Star. Like, I got a squad. Oh, and by the way, that 1 seed, it's ours. Thank you very much. And we all know that playoff, series in the conference finals didn't work out the way we all wanted to. But you know who still balled as the Bulls then lost 4 straight? D Rose. LeBron guarded him. People gave the Heat, Spoelstra, and LeBron himself credit for taking on more of that defensive assignment of D Rose. But D Rose still had some jaw dropper moves throughout the entirety of that conference finals series.
He did,
and he was never ever intimidated by that Heat team, which is awesome. And Chicago is so up our alley.
Yeah.
Underdog, blue collar, et cetera, et cetera. Like
taking
Miami.
No
Joakim's calling him Hollywood as hell.
Yeah. Your favorites.
Oh, my goodness.
It was everything, man. It really was.
So good, and it was 11 years ago. Good God.
Joey, where were you? Do you have any memories of Derrick Rose in the MVP season, the MVP year?
Hell yeah. That was like the best. Besides the Cubs winning the World Series, that was like peak Chicago fandom for me. I was in 6th grade. We had this conversation. I was in 6th grade. I was at that game 2 against the Heat. Looking back on that, there was like a legitimate chance they were winning in the 4th quarter. And LeBron, I think, closed the game with 9 straight points. But they were winning that game too. They
also had a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter of Game 5.
Yep,
right, they blew that one. But that one felt like the series was over at that point. But after game, that was a crazy season. Yeah. And I hated that Heat team with every ounce of my being.
Every sane human did.
That was the first team that I really really hated.
Yeah, because they threw a rally for themselves before winning a goddamn thing. All right, so we got to get out of here a little early today because we got the Blackhawks crew on deck in studio doing a live show. Congrats to them on reaching the finish line of their season.
I'm pointing at Jay Zawoski right now.
They made it.
And I know
they made it.
You can't take that away.
No. Greg and Jay are here. They're going to come on right at 4 o'clock Chicago time and give you all a live episode. So stay tuned for that right here on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We'll be back in studio again tomorrow.
Yes.
Same time, same place, 3 o'clock Chicago time tomorrow afternoon with our next in our line of player evals breaking down this 21-22 season. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. Will is at Won't Gottlieb. Dave's Bow, BAWL Sports on Bulls_Peck. We are collectively CHGO _Bulls. For our friend and producer Joey and Will and Big Dave and the Blackhawks crew on deck, this is Matt saying thanks as always for watching in Bulls Nation. We appreciate you. Until next time, see you, Red. Be good.